Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of the Author Collaborative. As always, I'll be talking to an author whose book I have read and enjoyed recently. And my guest today is Ankit Agarwal, and I have read his self help plus fiction book. It's a amalgamation of two genres, and it's a really interesting read where he has combined self help with fiction, and we learn life lessons through a character in the corporate world. It's going to be a really interesting conversation. Do stay connected. Hi, CD. I am not sure of your username. Hi, thanks for joining. I am waiting for my guest for the show today, Ankit Agarwal, and we are going to talk about his book, The Mystery of Solutions. And we'll also talk about my latest book, Heartstrings and Harmonies. Do stay connected. It's going to be a really interesting conversation where we will learn about writing different genres and our experiences of writing this book. Do stay connected. Hi, Sagat. Thank you for joining. I am waiting for my today's guest to come here and join me so we can start today's episode. My guest today is Ankit Agarwal, and we are going to discuss his book, The Mystery of Solutions. Do stay connected. Hi, Ankit. Let me just quickly invite you so we can start the episode. Let me send it one more time. As always, Instagram is not going to allow me to add you immediately. Okay, I've sent you another invitation. Hopefully, this will work. Hey,
Hello.
hi, Ankit. You will have
Bye.
to turn the front,
Yes.
yes, the front
Right.
camera. Hi,
Hi.
welcome to my show,
Thank,
Author Collaborative.
thank you.
Before we start the episode, I've just told everyone about your book a little bit. Firstly, let us begin by you giving us a brief introduction about yourself.
Sure. Yeah. So, hi, my name is Ankit Agarwal, and right now I'm working as a leadership coach. I'm fascinated about creating a good work culture where people would like to work rather than forced to work,
Hmm.
and that's what you'll see in my book and in my LinkedIn posts and all other things. So that's what I do right now. I have about 18, 19 years of experience.
Okay.
I have worked in Wipro, Infosys, and bunch of startups. So yeah, so that's brief about me.
Okay, wonderful. And I was just telling everyone about the interesting mashing up of genres that you have done in your book, The Mystery of Solutions. You have combined self-help with fiction, and I am not a fan of the genre, honestly. I don't
Right.
enjoy reading self-help books,
Right.
but you made a person like me enjoy self-help. So that's an achievement for you. You taught me life lessons through a character working in a sector which I know nothing about. You're working in a
Right.
corporate and IT sector, and talking about coding. We are learning life lessons through coding. So that was a really interesting read. So
Thank you. Thank
wonderful.
you. Thank you. Yeah.
And based on my reading, I do have a few questions for you. But before we do that, I'm just going to show everyone the book that we are talking about. So this is the book, The Mystery of Solutions. It's a really interesting cover also. And we don't generally see book covers in yellow. So I want to talk about that also. Why did you pick this color?
Okay. I'll give you a long answer for this. Okay. So I calculate a lot of things.
Okay.
Okay. Uh, don't go by my surname Agrawal, but then I try to calculate lots of things. I say that my life is life. My life is math,
Okay.
basically. So when I was figuring out what cover to finalize this, then I said, okay, fine. What would stand out?
Hmm.
and then yellow color was the one thing that okay, it can stand out. See, what happens is when your book will go to a bookshelf, the only thing what matters is what is going to identify it or distinguish it with other books. User picks it up, or once reader picks it up, you have to win that battle, right? So that was the whole idea behind it. Now, contradictorily, I have not put it in any bookstores. It is not competing with any bookstore or anything. I just do it through my through Amazon and my website.
Okay.
Yeah.
We have Nilshri here also who's agreeing that it is a catchy color, and her first anthology was also a yellow cover book.
Wow, nice.
Okay, so we are just going to show the cover one more time. This is the cover, and now I'm going to read one of my favorite chapters from the book. It's titled I Am Sorry, and it's an interesting conversation between two characters. I don't want to give out too much because that would be spoiling the book. I'm just going to begin reading.
Sure.
Saket took a sip of his coffee before continuing. You are an amazing person, and for the first time in my short career, I am seeing a glimmer of a leader, not just a project manager. Saket smiled and continued. I was wondering, when you are so organized and possibly have answers or unique solutions to most of the problems, then I would assume that you see things before they could happen. But what I was wondering was why you acted on Team Kraken's problem only when I sent you an email. Ideally, for a person like you, it should have been on your radar. This had been on Saket's mind for a long time now, and it relieved him when he put this forward to Karan. Well, you are spot on with that analysis. I accept that feedback and I apologize for being late to act. Karan bowed his head in acknowledgement. Oh, hey, why are you apologizing to me? You are the boss, said Saket timidly. So, I am a human, and humans make mistakes all the time. But mistakes are often perceived as threats or admission of incompetence. This perspective bears the heavy weight of ego, the fear of judgment, and the anxiety of vulnerability. Karan explained. Saket furrowed his brow and asked, so you are saying that many people see making mistakes as a personal weakness? Karan nodded and continued. For those caught up in this mindset, admitting a mistake is equal to unveiling a personal flaw, a breach in their armor of perfection. It is an attempt fraught with self doubt and the relentless voices of self criticism. What will others think? Will they see me as less capable? These questions haunt the corridors of the mind. Saket pondered this for a moment and then asked, but isn't it natural to feel vulnerable when admitting a mistake? How do we change that? Karan smiled and replied, that's a great point, Saket. When it comes to apologies, the negative thought process resists, seeing them as an act of submission, a surrender to weakness. Apologizing is often seen as an admission of guilt, a painful acknowledgement of wrongdoing that bruises one's pride. I inherited this lesson from my father, an army captain. He possessed remarkable toughness, yet he carried an essential humility within him. His wisdom was profound, and he once imparted to me a valuable insight. Acknowledging one's vulnerabilities can be a matter of life and death. I'm not going to read further because that will be spoiling the fun and giving away too much into the chapter. But this was one of my really favorite chapters because we don't see a lot of people admitting this, and I myself have been in that position where accepting my mistake has been a difficult journey because and when somebody else points it out to us, we become very defensive about it also. So yeah, this is a very important lesson for everyone out there. It doesn't matter at what level in your life you are. It is possible that you may be wrong, and admitting your mistake is a very important step in self growth.
And works well in marriage also.
Oh, definitely works well. And if my husband were here, he would say that admitting that you are always wrong works very well.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So
You like that chapter?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. And actually, there are a lot of other chapters, but this one stood out for me the most because of this very reason. Because it took me myself also a very long time to come to the understanding that admitting a mistake and learning from the mistake is also a very important step if you want to move further in your life.
Absolutely. Right.
So and coming from a leader, such a profound lesson. It's coming from
Mm.
the two characters where one of them is at a managerial level and the other one is, you know, a level below him, working under him. But that manager is saying sorry to the employee working under him. That's a very important thing, and it doesn't happen in corporate culture generally. So that
Absolutely.
was kind of, yeah.
So that's the whole point about me writing something like this is because, as I said, right, I've worked for 18 years and seeing all these things throughout my life, and I like always wondered why people cannot apologize. I mean, it's so, and that's when I kept asking this question, then I got this answer. Because of this, they'll feel vulnerable and
Mm.
difficult to accept that way. So yeah, that's the whole point.
Yeah. Okay, so based on my reading, I have a couple of questions for you, which I am sure will help me, you know, understand the process of writing better. My first
Right.
question to you is, we see the story from the point of view of Karan, who, you know, I don't want to give spoilers again, but he's working in this particular organization, and we see his perspective throughout the entire book.
Right.
I want to know from you what made you choose this particular character as your POV, and did you anytime think that maybe putting the story forth through another person's perspective, like maybe an employee who is not at the beginner level or who
Right.
might be at a managerial level, would that have made a stronger impact, and
Mhm.
how would that have made the story turn out?
Sure. So, see, what happens is I'll give you probably two different answers. Okay. One is you can always have an authority about saying
Hmm.
something, right?
Hmm.
And then it's always authority, right? Now, the thing is, what happens is what why I've written self-help book in a narrative format is because self-help book always do not have the
Hmm.
context, right? Now, if I'm a junior developer, if I do not have a context, I just have wisdom, teaching, and everything, I'll just lose half of those things. This gives context.
Hmm.
This is what everybody expects their managers to do. Because as a junior employee, I will keep doing my mistake and I'll keep getting scolded. But what happens other way around? So
Hmm.
gives it the kind of perspective, the heavy perspective, or the impactful perspective
Hmm.
that it's that's why you like this chapter, because coming from that character makes
Hmm.
it impactful, because that generally doesn't happen.
Hmm.
So that's number right. Now you asked about Karan and Saket,
Hmm.
right? So yeah, I mean, I would say like I read somewhere where somebody said, okay, an author basically whatever he or she writes is about everything what they have experienced and everything what they have read,
Hmm.
right? It's as simple as that. Um, so I'll not give you a spoiler, but Saket and Karan are both are inspired by my journey
Okay.
from last
Okay.
19 years, but from
Okay.
both are from different timelines,
Hmm.
right? I was junior. I saw things I didn't understand. Nobody was there to guide me, stuff like that, right? I also felt there was somebody who could, and then I also felt that there should all my managers should have should have done things in a different manner,
Hmm.
right? So those are the things that led me, to create these two characters. And there are a bunch of other characters also. I'm not sure if you've reached there, but then you'll like them.
Yeah, but we do see most of the book through Saket's POV, and my interest was in knowing whether the book would have turned out different if we were told the story from from a managerial POV.
Right. I mean, so if you'll read this, even if you read from this perspective, also the same thing. If a manager also reads, so this book is not only
Hmm.
about junior developers.
Right.
It's a 20-year-old experienced person reads
Hmm.
it. If they are ready to accept it, it is still a lesson for them also,
Hmm.
right?
Right.
So that's one of the things. In
Okay.
fact, what happens, I gave this copy to when this was not published. I gave this copy to one of the very highly posted 26-year-old employee in TCS.
Okay.
Okay, and when he read it, he said, "I have to unlearn so many things right now in my career,"
Hmm.
and that was like that was a the most amazing feedback that I've got. So that I like, okay, yeah. So writing this book is like, okay, done.
Okay, that's amazing. So, uh, the book has impacted people of all age groups,
Yes, absolutely.
irrespective of their work experience. Yeah.
And it's not only about, as you said, right? You're not from a corporate
Hmm.
background, right? If you look at it, all the teachings and everything that is part of this book is not about. It's also about your day-to-day life.
Hmm. Yeah.
Apologizing itself, just like how you, right?
Yes.
As I said, it helps in marriages also. So it's all about the psychology, right? So I would, if somebody asks me a one-liner definition of this book, I say this is basically psychology of people. How do they behave at work?
Hmm.
It's,
Right.
it's about that, and yeah. So that's how I came up.
Lovely. That brings me to my next question. You have mashed up two genres that are very different from one another, like
Yes,
self-help and
right,
fiction, and that too corporate fiction,
right.
which becomes another sub niche in a genre that is already very niche.
Yeah.
So how did that idea come about? And I want to understand how was the experience of writing it and how has the reception been so far?
Okay. So first question, how the genre? Okay. Um, Actually, I wanted to write. So as I said, right, I see lots of people, and I
Hmm.
see no, this is not the right way to do it.
Hmm.
But then what's the right way? You can tell it to your immediate juniors or people who are
Hmm.
reporting to you. But how do you tell this to masses,
Hmm.
right? Let's write a book. But then I never got a time. And then when I got time, I started writing. And what am I doing? What am I writing? I mean, I cannot possibly write anything new which is not already available in market, right?
Hmm.
And still people do the same thing. They probably would read the same book and still commit a mistake at work. Then how to do this? So
Hmm.
I said okay, fine. Let's think about it. And actually, there is I don't remember the author's name. There's something called Unicorn Project and Phoenix Project.
Okay.
That person is also techie, and
Okay.
he's also written this book in a similar format. There are very less books, so that gave me idea. Oh yeah, why not in this? Because that is a self-help book,
Hmm.
and if you write in such a format, it becomes interesting, and then people try to gauge more by reading a
Hmm.
book,
Hmm.
right? First of all, reading itself is not too popular
Yeah.
in the age of Instagram and Netflix. But
True.
if you want to give book to someone, it should become interesting for them,
Hmm.
right? So that's how I came up to that. And when I wrote first three chapters and gave it to people to just give me the feedback, they were like, okay, wow, this is something new. We have never seen something like that. Please continue. And of course, there were feedback like, okay, this doesn't suit well, that
Okay. Yeah.
usual stuff. So I fixed those and like, yeah, people liked it. So after that, it got published. And the most difficult thing is not the writing the book, is start
Yeah.
publishing. um, so so yeah, I mean, I have been trying different ways and different methods to showcase people that this is not your regular self-help book by taking the snippets, creating a blog out of it, posting on LinkedIn, Facebook, and different other places. I take snippets, create reels, and post it on my Instagram. Those kind of thing. I come on shows like this, wonderful shows like this, to let people know that this is what it is about. The one good thing is about this book, or so far, is I've sold roughly 200 copies so far only.
Lovely.
Uh,
Okay. Wow.
I go hard on myself, so I'll say only. I'll say. Uh, uh, and I'm yet to hear a single point of feedback. No, it's not good, or this
Oh,
didn't work, or that didn't. So that's something I myself am surprised. Like, what happened? It cannot be that good. Look, you get hard on yourself, right?
yeah.
That okay, fine. You're first time author. This is your first book. How can we be like nobody finds any mistake in that? So yeah, but then let's see what happens.
Okay. That's lovely. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that with us. Now I am done with my questions for you. You have also read my book, and I leave the floor open to you now.
All right. Yeah, I actually I gave you my candid feedback also on the book, right? So I usually do not read kind of a rom-com books, these kind of book, but your category is actually that. But then I said, okay, fine, let's give it a shot. And when I started reading, I said, okay, fine, this is not again exactly the rom-com kind of a book. It's a slightly different hatke, as you said, right? It's that way, and I really like the combination of Hindi and English. Of course, the Hindi is only about the songs and all, but then the when the song comes, then the meaning of it, and then there is a related story about it. And the story, you don't have to give too much of. It's not heavy. You don't have to think too much. It just calms you down. Now, very less books can do that to you,
Thank
right?
you.
So any story you go and read, it just calms you down. Whatever, no matter what mood you are in. That's what I felt so far. I've just gone like 50% of it, and I'm just kind of loving it because I do not read this, books too fast. Okay, so I've done this 50% in the last 2 days only, and I am liking okay. What happens in next story? What happens in next story? Okay, that's so that's really important because I mean, these are just snippets of life which
Yes.
happens every day, in everyone's life, and just to identify one single moment of realization that
Hmm.
matters a lot, right? So I actually also have one of the passage here.
Yes.
So it starts with
I'm,
one.
I'm extremely sorry. I was just trying to, download the books and show the cover to the people so that they know what we are talking about.
Sure, sure, sure. You want to take a minute for that?
Yeah, it's done.
All right.
So this is the book that we are
Yes,
talking about, Heartstrings
yes,
and Harmonies.
yes.
And
I
this
like
is
the
the
cover also.
book.
Cover is very fine. Cover is very nice.
Thank you. Oh, there's a story behind the cover, but we'll come to that later.
All right. So yeah, I mean, I was reading this, so it starts with, or I'll just go from the,
I'm going to pause you here because Nilshri has commented, and I
sure.
have to read out that because are we celebrating a paradox today? Because Manali does not prefer reading self-help and Ankit does not like reading rom-com. Still, you guys have collaborated. Excellent
And it's
example of
good.
author supporting author. Exactly. Yes.
No, but then see the thing, we don't like those genres, but we ended up liking it.
Yeah, and we have also written something which is different in those genres. That's why we liked it.
Exactly. Yeah. All right. So
Yes, go.
I'll read this. So it says, ये मौसम का जादू है मितवा, ना अब दिल पे काबू है मितवा, नैना जिसमें खो गए, दीवाने से हो गए, नजारा वो हर सू है मितवा. Okay. So it says it's the magic of season, my friend. I have no control on my heart, my friend. My eyes have become lost, in which they have gone crazy, in which that sight is beautiful, my friend. It's the magic of season, my friend. Now she couldn't help the resulting smile this time. Waving a goodbye without turning around, she continued on her intended path. The name is Rahul, by the way. I'm sure you must have heard it. You should have written this in Hindi. It would have made a different impact.
राहुल नाम तो सुना होगा.
Yeah. She laughed in earnest this time, stopping in her tracks. She turned back and replied, "Shouldn't it be Prem?" He ran his right hand through the tousled hair and shrugged his shoulders, not sure how to take conversation ahead. She started on her path again. I can guide you, by the way. I've been coming to the Valley of Flowers for the past few years. Not trying to brag, but I do know the best spots. He sprinted behind her, walking almost in tow, but still keeping a few yards between himself and Tanya. Best spots to rob me and throw me off the cliff? No, thank you. Oh, hello. Give the name some credit. Shah Rukh Khan would be offended. She quirked up her eyebrows, but didn't respond, which he somehow took as a cue to prove his point further. Shuffling his hand inside his back pocket, he took out his wallet. Here is my Aadhaar card, and it is linked with my PAN card. See, it says Rahul Sachdeva, and the photo is as bad as I look in person. Do you require OTP authentication too? I love this line. Very nice, very nice.
Thank
And
you.
I love this, the whole passage, the whole conversation that was going on between them. That was really nice, really nice.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I have a question for you when you wrote this, right? So I can understand that this is, and this is your first book? This is your
No,
first
this
book?
is my ninth book.
This is ninth book. Wow.
You
Okay. I didn't know
can see
that.
all of
Okay.
them behind, by the way. Not bragging, but they are all behind, including the one you just read out from Heartstrings
Nice.
and Harmonies.
Nice. 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 Okay. So the question to you probably is like, okay, fine. It sounds simple.
Hmm.
It sounds
Just going to
soothing, everything.
pause you here. Gaurav is here from the handle Angry Jungly Bosses, and he was also on my show a couple of weeks ago. And he has also written
Wow.
corporate fiction, which you should definitely check out.
Awesome.
It's also a corporate fiction with a twist.
Awesome. I will definitely do that. I'll
Hi,
definitely do that.
Gaurav.
Hey,
Nice to see you. Yes, continue.
okay. Um, so now you say that you have written nine books, right? So what can authors do when it comes to finish writing a book? Because that's one problem that happens, that okay, I want to finish it by now, but then it always goes, and it always we procrastinate a lot.
Yeah. So, firstly, you have to find that motivation. What is it that you are motivated by when you are working on a project? It doesn't matter if it's a book or anything that you are working on. Even while you are doing anything else, what is that end goal that you have in mind that keeps you going? कि मुझे ये करना है, मुझे ये करते ही रहना है जब तक ये खत्म ना हो. So you have to find that self motivation within yourself that I have to finish this, and I have to put a self deadline on myself that by this time I want to finish it. Doesn't matter तब तक नहीं होगा तो भी ठीक है, but you don't give up in between कि ये अब नहीं हुआ, so I will not continue. You have
Right.
to reminding yourself that I have worked this much, so I have to go on. It doesn't matter how good or how bad or how much improvement it requires further.
Yep.
That will come later. पहले first stage to complete करो यार.
Right.
That's really important, and that will only come with discipline.
Absolutely.
The more you write, the more that discipline will come into you. The more you read also. I think by reading also that motivation and inspiration comes. When you look at others writing so well, you are motivated that
Right.
maybe I can also emulate them and achieve something in my own content creation and my writing. So two things: self motivation and finding that kind of spark that comes from following the works of other people in the same community, or talk to
Awesome.
them. Even if you are not reading their work, talk to them. That will also be a source of motivation.
Right.
So those
Right.
are
And do
the two
you?
things that have helped me
Okay.
have develop discipline and consistency, that
Right.
I'm a very self-motivated person.
Right.
That's one thing, and the other thing is that I'm a part of a community which is very active. Like every Friday I do this, and talking to authors also motivates me, that I
Yeah.
learn from them, so that helps me continue on my own journey of
Right.
creating content.
So that's great. That's great. Any tips and tricks that you, when you say discipline, right? Any tips and tricks that you follow? Like, do you have word limit or any particular set of time in a day that you do it that
See,
makes it easier?
when I'm actively working on a project, yes, I do have a deadline that I earmark. Like for instance, I have a self-made goal that every year I will put out at least 2 books,
Wow.
and it doesn't matter when I'm doing it.
Right.
Once I start doing it, I have that much marked कि ये 2 या 3 महीने में first draft I will finish.
Good.
Currently, I'm not actively working on a book, but I have 2-3 ideas in my mind, and I know for sure that when I start actively working on them, it will only require me 2 months to finish the first draft. So that goal is always there in my head. But having said that, you also need to have that kind of experience behind you to I've written 9 books, so I know that I can finish it in 2 months. But
Yeah.
if you are a first time writer, probably it will not be that way for you. It might take you 6 months or 1 year. So
Yeah.
don't compare your journey to others' journeys in that sense also, that इसका
Right.
1 महीने में हो गया तो मेरा क्यों नहीं हुआ, ऐसे नहीं होता है. You also need that kind of experience to be able to write
Yeah.
that quickly. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, it's the same thing, right? If I go to play cricket, and if I always compare myself to Virat Kohli, I will never be
Yeah,
able to play.
that's never going to help you. Yeah.
Exactly.
He
Yeah.
has that
Yeah.
kind of experience and expertise now, that he is at that level because of that kind of experience.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
So that's really good. Yeah. Thanks for
uh,
sharing that.
and one more tip that I tell this to everyone who asks me when they they aspire to become an author. I also call myself an aspiring author only till now. But when they are writing their first book, when they ask for advice on how to go ahead with writing their first book, I always say that read more, read as much as possible in the genre that you are planning to write in. Even if you are
Right.
not reading other genres, जो genre तुम लिखना चाह रहे हो उसमें तो पढ़ो ही, because without that you are not going to understand how the genre works.
Exactly. Yeah.
So yeah, that's one advice. That's like the golden advice everywhere. And I have heard this from other authors who are way more experienced and way more successful than I am. So that's like a golden advice that every author gives.
Yeah. Well, that's totally good. Okay. So that's this is about writing part. So how do you take the next part? Like as I said, right, publishing a book is the easiest part. The difficult journey starts after that, right? How to
Hmm.
let people know that buy this book, this is a good book. What do you do, or what have you done in past?
First of all, you have to get out of that bubble thinking that, I have a very good network, so I don't need to promote my book that much. क्योंकि मेरे सर्कल में इतने सारे लोग हैं जो जो मुझे जानते हैं, वो
Yeah.
तो ले ही लेंगे and they will talk about it. That's not going to happen. You have to move out of that bubble. वो burst कर लो पहले तो, क्योंकि तुम्हारे
Yes.
सर्कल में जितने लोग हैं, maximum 50 or 100 people are going to buy the book. उससे ज्यादा भी कर लेंगे तो necessary नहीं है that they will read the book and they will recommend it to everyone.
Right.
And they are not going to leave a review also. You can't expect that. They have their own lives and you can't really force someone to read and review your book. So
Hmm.
first of all, get out of that bubble. And the
Right.
more you talk about your book, the more you are going to get readers interested in your work. अगर तुम खुद को
Right.
नहीं कर रहे हो promote, then why will people be interested in what you are doing? So talk
Right.
about it. I'm not saying that,
Mhm.
flaunt about it everywhere and push it in every conversation possible, but,
Right.
talk about it with pride. Talk about
Yes.
your experience of doing it. Talk about how people have received it. Don't just talk about मैं तो बहुत बढ़िया हूँ, मैंने तो इतनी सारी बुक्स लिखी, I am too great. Not like that. Just share your experience about it. So
Mhm.
yeah, that and network with the authors like the way I'm doing right now. We are doing right now. That is your biggest asset.
Yep.
The more you become a part of the community,
Right.
the more you reach out to other authors, and the more you support them, they will support you in return. And once
Understood.
you have that strong circle,
Mhm.
they will have your back when you need them.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Wow.
yeah.
Nice. It's really these kind of things really is helpful for a first time author like me as well. I just started the second I wouldn't say a sequel, but then it's kind of loosely based sequel of Mystery of Solutions.
Okay.
Uh, so so it's going to be sequel with like it's going to have similar characters, and then but theme would be slightly different.
That's lovely.
Yeah, these tips really would help me. Thank you so much for that.
No problem at all. Okay. Yes.
What
Your do you have another question for me, or we will move to the rapid fire round now then?
can move to the rapid fire? I think I had these two questions which I wanted to know, so
Yeah.
I already asked them. Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. So, with the rapid fire round, which is my favorite bit of every episode, what we'll do, Ankit, is we'll do back and forth. One question I will ask, and then you ask me the first question. Okay. My first question to you is, who is the Karan of your life? We have a character named Karan who plays a very important role in this book, and I want to ask you, who is or was the Karan in your life?
Okay. So Karan is basically a mixture of all the good managers that I had and what I want to become, or I always wanted to become as a manager to all the people.
Okay.
Uh, so that's Karan for you. There are a few people who have read the book and then said Karan is myth. A person like this cannot exist. I said, okay, thanks for the
Okay.
compliment. Thanks for the compliment. I'll
Karan is
take it
an
as a pride.
aspiration. Actually, we can say that Karan is an aspiration.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, so that's Karan.
Okay, your
Right,
turn.
my turn. So yeah, so why do you have a common theme of food and songs in all your stories?
Do we have food? Do we have
Yeah,
food
I
that
actually
much in all
I
the stories?
yeah, samosa. Then I think there was vada pav. I think there was
Oh,
puchkas also. So I kept noticing. Okay, fine. Okay, I'll ask this.
yeah, that's the side effect of being a foodie yourself, I think.
Great. I'm a big foodie too.
And I also strongly believe that food brings people together. Food, music, these are the things that bring people together, bond really well. Because my husband and I are both foodies, and I know for sure that if that connection we didn't have, we would not be so gelling in well so together. जिससे we have our differences also, but I think if we didn't have that common factor, the differences would have been more.
Absolutely, absolutely. Wonderful. Okay. So you
Yeah.
discovered in this podcast or in this live session that you have food connection in your books, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yes, in my novels, I've written two novels also. There also, I talked about food, and both those novels are based in Bombay, and I've talked a lot about the food spots in Bombay in those books. But ye book mein, I didn't realize that I have spoken about food that much.
Maybe I noticed only those
I
ones.
only recall one story, which is the samosa story, and that samosa is of course the
Right.
factor that brings them together.
Yeah. Yeah. Good, cool, cool.
Yeah.
Your turn.
Yes. Okay. My second question to you is the first chapter about Sake's first day at the job.
Hmm.
It reminded me of a certain web series that I recently watched. Do
Hmm.
you know which web series that is?
Cubicles?
Oh my God, yes. I didn't expect that किसी ने देखी होगी. I mean, I was always of the thought that बहुत कम लोगों ने ये web series देखी है. But yes, it did remind me of the first episode from Cubicles where he's running around doing all the stuff. उसको पहले ही दिन इतनी सारी responsibility दे दी है.
Yeah.
But I
So
was
I mean,
immediately reminded of that. Yeah.
so I mean, I'll tell you a small. No, it's not a secret or anything, but I am behind TVF also. कि बाबा मेरा
Okay.
मेरा book ले लो and fourth season इस पे बना लो.
Oh, lovely.
But
Oh, yeah,
then
that would be really nice.
yeah, but then they have responded. They're very nice people. They've responded. They said, yeah,
Oh, wow, they have responded.
yes.
चलो
But
फिर तो यार
then,
सोच
they've
सकते हैं,
responded
मेरी
and
अप्रोच कर
there's
सकते हैं.
see, Mera, I understand one thing and I know one thing. Until you ask, the answer is no.
Yes.
में क्या जाता है? Right? So I asked, and then they say it's not exactly the same.
Hmm.
Your story matches Cubicle story, yes, but
Hmm.
then there's too much of work because you already have a Cubicles universe going on,
Hmm.
right? Your story is entire new universe. Now to blend this, it's a lots of work.
Yeah.
Unless you want to do that work and submit it for proposal, let's see.
Hmm.
So yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's still motivating what they said, and that's good.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they were encouraging in their response. So yeah, that's that.
Yeah,
That's my positive takeaway from this. Yeah.
absolutely. I'm a big fan of TVF from I don't know how many, so from the moment they came on. So
I
that,
think the first ever show that I watched of theirs was Gullak, and I have also been a fan
but
since
before
that
that,
time.
they used to make only short videos, and they used to upload it on YouTube.
So they also had one series which was initially this one, Aam Aadmi Family, which was only on YouTube. Pehle.
Right.
I think first season was only on YouTube, and yeah, they make lovely content, very relatable, very sweet
Yes,
content. Yes,
yes, yes,
and
yes.
I'm very happy to know that we have a cubicle thing between us. I mean, I was very sure you wouldn't be able to guess कि मैं कौन सी series की बात कर रही हूँ. So this was a
I,
surprise.
yeah, I watch lots of TV series, and I'm also a foodie. I could not mention. I'm also very like foodie and try to run around everywhere, try to eat every new possible thing and try
Okay,
to explore that.
lovely.
But
Okay,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. But this is not a food show. Next question for
Next question, your turn.
what is the biggest challenge of being an author?
Oh,
Very wide open.
I think the biggest challenge is working on the idea of after it first strikes you. Uh,
Hmm.
because we, I mean, most authors and most people who are in this field, we are full of creative ideas.
Yes.
We get hit by a lot of ideas during the entirety of 24 hours itself.
Right.
And the biggest challenge for I believe is that how do you go from that small idea in your head, small thought in your head, how do you go ahead with the next step in
Right.
taking that idea further? I think that's the most challenging because
Mm.
ideas बहुत सारे हैं, उसमें से कौन सा अच्छा है, whether you are motivated to carry it forward or not,
Right.
that's a very big challenge.
And the flow of it
Yeah,
altogether, it has
and
to
then
come together.
continuing on that idea, that is also
Yes.
another level of challenge.
Yes. Yes. No, that's I've seen in my first book also. Like I'm writing chapters by chapters, but then there's no cohesion between them.
Yeah,
Okay, I have to work on this. These are different ideas. Now you
yeah,
have to blend it in the story. So that took a lot of time for me also. Yeah,
exactly.
it's nice. Yeah.
Okay, my next question to you: are you a fan yourself of the self-help genre? And give us recommendations like your book, which are hatke in this genre.
Hatke in this genre. Okay. So I am I don't know, avid reader or big reader, I don't know, but I read almost like 60 to 70 books a year.
Okay, lovely. Okay.
So then more than a book in a week.
Hmm.
And I read at any given point of time. I don't know, you'll call me crazy or what. Any given point of time, I'll be reading 6 to 7 books in parallel.
Oh, 6 to 7. Oh my God. I thought I am crazy for juggling 3, 4 books.
Yeah. So for me, as I said, my life is math,
Hmm.
right? So if I'm driving, there's an audiobook. If I'm going to bed, there is a different book to read.
Hmm.
When I start work in the morning, so I also preach this thing. If you have to read a self-help book, start reading that book at least for 15 minutes just before you start any work. Because once you start the work, उसके बाद तो time नहीं मिलेगा.
Okay.
Before that, you have to start reading. So there is a different book when I start before the work. So different occasions, I have a different book.
Okay.
Okay, that's how
Interesting.
divide. I look at this as a web series you're watching. You can watch 2, 3, or 4 web series in a parallel, right? Nobody calls it easy then, but then why reading books? So I do that. Half of these books are usually self-help books.
Okay.
I try to, and I also believe in one thing, that if you are reading a self-help book, just don't read it. Implement at least one point out of it, because what's the point of knowing when you don't do it? Then it means not knowing it, right? What are you going to do with that kind of a wisdom or education?
Exactly. Yes.
So my favorite book, I have not read much or many. I have not seen many books in this genre. I've read only 3 books so far. So one is Unicorn Project, and the same guy has written the sequel of it as Phoenix Project.
Okay.
And there was one more book, The Goals.
Okay.
It's all about a company which is going down. All the everything is, everybody's going to get fired, and then you get somebody comes and then teaches this person, and then this person implements all those things. So yeah, it was something similar. So I was also like, okay, when I started that book, nobody told me it is going to be that kind of a genre. And then when I said, okay, fine, this is what I am also writing.
Oh, lovely. Okay.
So yeah, these are the 3 books I've read. I've not read any further more books on this genre, at least. I've not seen it. There must be many.
Unicorn Project, Goals, and Phoenix Project. Okay.
Yeah.
I
I'll send you the name
your book,
if you
so
like.
I'm not going to say, because I enjoyed your book, and if these are also hatke like your book, I will check them out.
Yeah.
Okay.
They might get a little too technical because they are from industrial background.
Okay.
So for me also, it was slightly more technical, but then so that has more of technical jargons more. So I tried to keep it less. Still, people said these are too technical. So in my next book, I'm trying to keep it even less technical, so that people try to all the areas.
Okay. Lovely. Okay.
Yes.
It's your turn, I think. Yes.
Okay. What do people misunderstand about you most as an author?
Oh wow. Interesting. Because I have written so many books, people feel that I am this super confident and super knowledgeable person, which I am not.
Mm,
I have my own insecurities that I'm working on every day. And as for the knowledge, I always say that I'm a work in progress, and I think I'm going to be a work in progress till the time I die. Let's not talk about that, but it's going to be a lifetime of work in progress. We learn from each day. So these are the two things that people generally feel that if they have heard about me from somebody else and they know about my work, and so their first impression they have is that ये तो बहुत confident होगी क्योंकि इसने 9 books लिख ली है and she
mm,
must be knowing a lot about the industry, but I still feel that I am learning a lot about the industry and about the writing, about writing in general every day.
right, right. Interesting. You said one thing which actually resonated with me, that it's always work in progress, and I totally believe in that. Right. I think I read some story somewhere, like President Roosevelt, when he died at the age of 93, or I don't know, 94, when they took him, when he took his body, he had a book under his pillow. He was still reading, still trying to be, how to be better. So that makes it, like people who say I'm done learning, and
नहीं
then
वो तो
from
possible ही
your
नहीं है.
downfall
Yeah,
starts from there.
yeah,
You never can be, done that.
yeah,
Right.
true.
Good, good,
Lovely.
nice.
Okay, my next question to you is the title of the book. It's quite interesting and not only interesting, a little misleading also, because title पढ़ के तो क्या ही समझ में आएगा कि book के अंदर क्या है. So tell us about that.
Okay. So the title was very agonizing part of this book,
Okay.
coming up with this book. Did not know what exactly to put it. I tried so many things, nothing felt right.
Hmm.
Okay. In fact, I have given a small snippet of how I came up with this title in the starting of the dedication speech. I don't know if you've read it.
I
You've read it? Okay. All right. So the idea was, the whole point about the mystery of solution is basically, the mystery is if the solutions are so simple,
Hmm.
if can be applied so simply, because when you read the book you'll see that solutions is always in front
Hmm.
of you. You can always apply it very easily. Then the mystery is, why don't people do that? And that's what the answer is. We are trying to find out through different people, conversation between different people, like why it is so difficult. And that's how you learn about the psychology of people at workplace.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Lovely. Yeah. Thank you. Great. Okay, your turn. I think it's the last question. No, second last.
Second last. All right. So, what's the most surprising lesson you learned while writing your any book, you can say, and then you say it was your, oh wow, kind of a moment, uh, throughout either one book or all the book. You can say, you can choose.
So, I'm not trying to boast about myself, but I know I am a
It's
very
your show. Go
yes.
ahead.
I know I'm a very funny person in person, like, but when I started writing,
Yeah.
like properly writing,
Mm.
fiction writing, I realized that I can be funny on paper too. It's not just when I'm talking to somebody face to face that I can crack a joke and make the mood lighter. It's also possible when I'm writing a story or talking about characters talking to each other, or when a monologue is going on in the head of one of the narrators. So yeah, I realize that one's personality can also translate into what they are writing. So yeah, that's something that was something very good, like a happy realization for me that itna easily I am able to do
Mhm.
humor in my writing also, because I have heard from many people that writing humor is one of the toughest things.
It is. It is, and it goes. It doesn't stay with the time, but your book will be standstill, right? So
Yeah.
if time changes, then humor also loses its. But then yes, because that's why I wanted to read this line, right? Do you require OTP or authentication? So that's one line, gave me that, and I'll ask this. But yeah, yeah, good, good. Thanks for that.
Okay. My last question to you is, which was the toughest chapter for you to write in this book and why?
Okay. I would say anything was toughest, but then I would say the sorry chapter was the one which you read. I actually did a lot of revisions of it because
Okay.
at some time I did not also want to come out cynical. Uh,
Hmm.
because see, at the end of the day, I have anger inside me that why people are not doing the right thing. But
Hmm.
at the end of the day, I do not want to put in my book something that shows my anger, right? I'm
Hmm.
trying to teach something to people. So
Hmm.
every time I was writing that, I was all bogged in with all the past experience and all those things. I always finish writing the chapter in anger with some kind of punch or something. So that was a problematic part.
Okay.
uh, so I did lots of revisions. I calm myself down, and then I ask lots of people to read it, that
Okay.
uh, whether it's sounding too cynical or anything else. So that helped me to come out of it. Otherwise it would not have been that impactful. So that
Okay.
was your you have to have to calm your emotions at least at some point of time, to deliver the
Hmm.
message, right? That's really important. So yeah.
Lovely. Yeah, and I'm so glad I picked that particular chapter, and we are talking about that itself.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Right.
Okay,
Cool.
your last question.
Last question. Very simple one. What's your favorite book?
Oh my God.
And
No,
possibly
no, no.
we have time. Why?
I I don't have favorite books. I have favorite genres. So I'm going to talk about those two genres, which are my top favorite. There's
Mhm.
a it's a tie between rom-com and thrillers. So I read these two genres the most, and give me a good rom-com, give me a good thriller. It doesn't matter to me who the author is, even if they are a first-time author or who has published it. It's self-published or vanity published or it's from the big five. Doesn't matter to me at all. Uh, अगर बुक अच्छी है तो मैं पढ़ लूंगी. And I will boost it also. I will give it a good rating and give a shout out to the author also. It doesn't matter to me. So these are the two genres that I read the most and enjoy the most. And since you have asked for my favorite book, I'm going to say that I review books also. And if you want book recommendations from me, you can go to my Bookstagram handle, Bookish Witch, and any book that I have rated above 4, you can pick it up. Without a doubt, you will enjoy that. Above 4.
Good. I'm going to make use of that. Definitely. Nice.
Yeah. So,
Thanks. So
this has been,
I'll go
yeah.
see what different. I'll probably pick up at least one or two from them. I'll start reading rom-com from now on.
I have already given you one recommendation. Gaurav was here. I don't know if he's still there, but you can definitely check out his book. It's a corporate fiction and uh, different from yours, but also similar in the manner that he
Mhm.
has also given a hatke take on it.
Sure. No, now this is a good thing, right? When we are talking about it, I came to know about his book. Otherwise, how will we come to know, right?
Yeah.
That's one of the challenge that we have to keep facing that.
He
But
has
yeah, thanks for that.
already told you the book name again, Angry Jungly Bosses. He is also by
Yeah,
the same handle name on Instagram, Angry Jungly Bosses.
right. I'll do that. I think Nilshri has again pinned that angry jungly bosses.
Yes.
Yes, I'll do that
And
after this. I'll
Nilsri
just
has
write up.
also appreciated. I'm just checking the comments that we have missed. She has said, loved the process behind the naming of your book.
Thank you, Nilshri. Thank you so
Lovely
much.
conversation. Thank you so much, Nilsri. So I think that's about it. We are at the end of the episode, and you already told me you are working on the second book. So I am looking forward to hosting you again, and we'll do this one more time with two more books, two new books.
Absolutely. And I have taken inspiration from you. I want to now shell out at least two books a year. I will. That, that's my target. That's my target for 2025.
Yes, I would love that. कि मेरी वजह से कोई, you know, as long as somebody is writing, reading is getting promoted. That's my
Right.
belief, and that's a win for all writers out there.
Absolutely. Yeah. No doubt about that. It
So yes,
was very
please write.
nice. Sure. And definitely it was a wonderful experience
Same
having
here.
this
Same here.
conversation with you.
Same.
Uh, yeah, I mean like there are lots of things I got to know within this last 30 minutes, 30 to 45 minutes. That's amazing.
Yeah, and it's very rare that we are so comfortable with each other right away. And you are one of those people that I had really had a fun time with over this live. So I really look forward to hosting you again.
Definitely, definitely.
Yes. So, and this episode will be available on my Instagram feed and on my YouTube channel. You
Sure.
can always share it with your friends and family, and whoever is watching us right now, they can also always go back and check out the full conversation in case they have missed it. So, thank you once again, Ankit, and have a great weekend. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.